we will pay attention to the entries in the general journal. The first entry, the debtor paid 4,600 with a direct deposit. So they give me the amount that is paid. So if he paid his full debt, he would pay 100%. The discount is 10%. And the amount received or paid will then be 90%. If they don't give you the discount, that is what you have to calculate. In this case, they give me the amount received and they give me the discount. So I'm going to show in my journal that the money that was received in the bank account is the 4,600. And then on that 4,600, when he paid it, we decided to give him 10% discount on the amount paid. So that is 460 Rand. Now you must divide that 460 between the amount for discount and the amount for VAT. So it means these two together will give me the 460 Rand. The discount portion will be 100 over 115 because the amount that we allow includes VAT. And the VAT portion will be 15 divided by 115. And that will give me 400 Rand and 60 Rand. And that means that the total debtor was decreased with the 4,600 plus this 460. So the debtor will decrease with 5,060. In the second entry, they say pay a debt of 10,120. Okay, now here they give you the debt. So it means that 100% amount that he owes is 10,110. We will give him 10% discount. Paid the debt to a creditor after the discount. So he will only pay 90% and he will not pay 100% because his debt is 10,120 and he will pay the amount after 10% discount was allowed. So if we want to know the debt, the percentage that I want over the 100 times 1020 will give me the amount that he will actually pay, and that will give me 9,108. Okay, if I want to work out what's the discount, it's 10, one that I want, over the one that I know, 100 times 101,020. And if I calculate that, it will give me the total discount. Okay, so we will take the 10,120 and we will multiply it with 10% to get 1012. Then I will divide that discount between discount and the VAT. So it means that part of this discount is the money that the business is giving us discount, and part of the money is what SARS will keep less because we're going to pay less money over. Okay, so that means we pay a debt, the creditor will decrease with a total debt of 10,120. The bank amount that we pay will then be the 90%, so it's the 10120 times the 90%, and that will give me 9108. Then we will take the 10120 and we will calculate 10% on this, and that will give me an answer of 1012. And we will split that figure between the discount is 100 over 115 and the VAT is 15 over 115. So it means that the discount that we allow will be 880 Rand, and the VAT input that we can claim less from SARS will now decrease with 132. Okay, if we look at number 3, a debtor paid his debt of 4,500. Now it's the debt that they're giving to us, with a direct deposit after 10% discount was allowed. So it means that the debtor will pay the debt of 4,500 after the 10%. So if we calculate it again, the debt will be 100% if he pays everything. The discount will be 10%, and the VAT, the paid amount will be 90%. So the amount that they pay, they give me his debt. So next to debt, I must show 4,500 because that is the amount that's given to me. So if I want to see how much we will pay, I will say 4,500 times the amount that we want, the 90, divided by the 100, and that will give me 4,050. And if I subtract these two up from each other, it gives me the discount as 450. And then I will split that discount again and say the discount portion will be 100 over 115, and the VAT portion will be 15 over 115. So if we want to show it in the journal, we will show that the amount that we paid was 4,500. And we received this money, so it's 4,500 times the 90%, and the bank will increase with 4,050. Okay, the total debt is 4,500. Then we will calculate on the 4,450, if I subtract those two from each other, the discount is 450. But that discount includes VAT. So for the discount, I will say times 100 over 115, and that will give me 391. And for the VAT portion is 15 divided by 115, and the answer will then be 59. So you must just remember that if there's discount, you will first work out what is the discount amount, and then the discount amount that you calculate, you will split and say that amount equals 115%, because that is what the creditor owes or what we owe to the debtor. And then we will split it between the 100 and 115 and the 15 times 115. Okay, if we look at number 4, we receive 600 from the insolvent estate of a debtor. The outstanding amount of 230 must be written off. Okay, so I'm just going to try and see if I can fit it in there. Okay, so we receive 600. So in my bank, I will indicate that we receive 600 Rand. And then they say the outstanding amount of 230 must be written off. So the total amount that must be written off is 230. This amount equals 115%. So if I want to know what is the bad debts, I will say 100 over 115, and the VAT will be 15 over 115. And that will give me 200 Rand and 30 Rand. And the outstanding debt was 230. We received 600, so it means the debtors will decrease with 830 Rand. Okay, if we read number 5, receive 690 from a debtor whose debt was previously written off as bad debts. Now remember, as soon as you've written off bad debts, you can never go and credit the debtors control, because we close their account and they don't have an account in the business anymore. So when we wrote off the bad debts, we created an expense that decreased our profits. If we can recuperate that bad debts, it means that we must now show that we've got an income. So the total amount that we receive is 690. And that includes the VAT, so the VAT portion will be 100 over 115 times 690. So that means my income will increase with 600 Rand. So I will increase my profits again. Then for the VAT, the 15 over the 115 times 690, and that will give me 90 Rand. So what's very important here is that you must remember that bad debts recovered, bad debts discount, received, discount allowed, include the amount that we calculate, includes VAT. So we have to split those figures every time to see what portion is VAT and what portion of that total amount will be income or expenses to the business. Okay, the owner took goods with a cost price of 300 for his personal use. Now, if the owner takes anything for himself, he has to pay VAT on it. If they give you the cost price, it means it excludes VAT. So I'm going to say the trading stock decreased with the 300 because that is the cost price that they give us. Now, because he takes it for himself, it means that when we bought the goods, we claim VAT back on those goods because we are supposed to sell it. So if we donate the goods or the owner takes it for himself, then you have to pay VAT on the goods again. So I'm going to say on this 300, and now you must be very careful. Do you see that it's not 15 over 115? All these other amounts, the amount that we calculated included the VAT. Here they give us the amount excluding the VAT. So I'm going to say the one that I want, 15, over the one that I know, 100, and that will give me 45 Rand. And if I want to know what is the drawings, the percentage that I want over the one that they've given to me, times the 300, and that will give me 450. So the drawings will automatically increase with the VAT that was not paid by the owner. Okay, if we look at number 7, sold goods on credit at 552 to a debtor. Okay, so it means the total amount with which the debtor will increase is 552 Rand. Now, some of that 552 is VAT and some of it is sales. So the amount that we sell to him equals 115 because it includes the VAT. The sales, if I want to calculate it, the percentage that I want over the percentage that we know times the 552 will give me 480 Rand. So the income for the business is 480. The VAT output will then be the 15 divided by the 115 that was given to me times the 552, and that will give me 72 Rand. Okay, then they also tell me in number 7 that the profit is 60% on cost. So it means the cost price equals 100%, the profit equals 60%, and the sales price equals 160%. Okay, that 160% equals the 480. So if I want the cost price, I want the 100 divided by the 160 times the 480, and that will give me the cost price as 300. So the cost of sales to be able to sell these goods were 300, and my trading stock decreased with 300. Now remember, we're halfway through the exercise. The only accounts that can be 115% is debtors control, creditors control, and bank. And then if the owner takes something for his own use, then it will also include the VAT. If the owner takes money, there's no VAT calculated. In number 8, they say we issue a credit note for 460 to a debtor. Okay, so the amount on the credit note includes the VAT. So the 460 will then be the amount that we will decrease the debtor, because that's the amount on the credit note. That amount in the debtors control equals 115%. So if I want to know what is the debtors allowances, I will say 100 over 115, and if I want the VAT, 15 over 115 times the 460, and that will give me 400 Rand and 60 Rand. Okay, in number 8, they say the profit is still 60% on cost. Now we know the 460 again, so it means if I want to calculate it, I will take 100 over 160 and times the amount of the debtors was 400, and I will work out what is my cost of sales, and that will give me 250 Rand. So every time when they tell you there's cost of sales, first look at the actual amount of the sales. So you must first take out the VAT, because the cost of sales is calculated on the sales price excluding VAT. The same when the debtors return goods, it means that you won't work it out on 460. You will work it out on the actual price excluding the VAT. Okay, if we look at refreshments, we purchase refreshments and we pay 230 for it. Now, of all the expenses that you pay, the only one that you are not allowed to claim back VAT from SARS is refreshments. So if we take people out for supper, or we have a dinner, or we have a function at the business, you are not allowed to get that VAT back from them. So it means that you will show that the expense for the refreshments will include the 230. Okay, so receive 5750 for rent. Now the amount that we receive is the amount in the bank. So it means I will show the bank increased with 5,750. Included in that amount is VAT. So I want to know what is my rent income. So 10 divided by the one that I know, 115 times 5750. And that will give me 5,000 rand. So the income for the business is 5,000. And then I will calculate the VAT, 15 over 115. And that will give me the 750. Okay, so that means we collected that on behalf of SARS on this rent income, so we have to pay this 750 over to SARS. Okay, the bank charges according to the bank statement is 46. So the amount that they take out of the bank is 46 rand. Bank charges is a normal expense. So it means that you have to work out what is the expense for the business and what is the VAT that you have, that you can claim back from SARS. And that will give me 40 rand and 6 rand. Purchase equipment on credit for 9,200 less 20%. So we buy it on credit. The creditors control how much do we owe them. The price of this equipment was 9,200. They give me 20%, so it means my purchase price is actually only 80% of that amount. And that will give me 7,360. Now on the 7,360, that's my actual purchase price. I will determine what is the value of my equipment, because remember this one is 115%, and I will calculate what is the 15 over 115, and we will calculate it on the 7360 because that was your actual purchase price. And the equipment is then worth 6,400, so the asset increases on the debit side. The VAT input is 960, so this is the amount that we can claim back from SARS. Paid 6,500 for the monthly installment on the loan that includes interest. Okay, so the amount that we pay is 6,500. They say part of that is interest of 500. So the amount that will actually decrease my loan will be 6,000. So my liabilities will decrease with the 6,000. I will create an expense for 500, and we will take out of the bank 6,500. So if you looked at all these entries that I've done now, you will see that I've written every time 115, 115, because it just makes the calculation so much easier.